Yo, what's up guys? Welcome to this video today. My name is Chris. I'm a creative entrepreneur, and today I'm going to talk to you about microdosing ayahuasca because this has been such a pivotal experience of my life that I want to share with people and I don't even hear people talking about microdosing ayahuasca online. I'm like, how is this stuff not out there? It's been extremely impactful, and I'd say it's better than microdosing mushrooms on a whole new level and a whole new experience, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. So what we're going to cover in this video is the skeptics, my own experience, and how I found that you can microdose ayahuasca. Then we're going to do how you actually microdose ayahuasca, when you microdose ayahuasca, what it's like, and what benefits and the overall experiences I've had with it. So let's get started. Number one, you're probably feeling skeptic on this in a sense of just like, you can't microdose ayahuasca, because I initially thought the same exact thing. And I was like, when I heard about it, I was like, yeah, you can't do that. And then the more I learned about it, the more I was intrigued to try it. And I actually first learned about it after sitting with ayahuasca in Costa Rica, in Puerto Viejo, Costa Rica. And, after coming out of the experience, I was like, okay, that was cool. That was just, like changa, but longer, and a dope experience. And I was like, I just want a little bit more. And in saying that, she mentioned that the steward of the medicine in the land in Costa Rica mentioned that you could microdose ayahuasca, and I was like, what? What's it like? And she's like, essentially it'll decrease stress, anxiety, and fear, and just allow you to be in flow. And I was like, tell me more. How much is it? And she was like, I think it was $20 or $15 for a 30 milliliter vial. And in that vial, it has a dropper that I'd say is probably half a milliliter. And you simply just take a dropper and you mix it in with water and you're done. It's that simple. And I was like, does this really work? And she's like, well, and this is the story that hooked me on it, was she said the kids in Costa Rica, specifically Puerto Viejo, when they get to the age about, I think 7 to 11 is what she said, they start giving the children a spoonful of ayahuasca daily, just to help them understand how the medicine works, how to connect to the land, how to connect the land and the medicine together, and how to overall be stewards of the medicine, the land, and the experience for people who want to come to Costa Rica and heal with ayahuasca. And I was like, I'm sold. Sign me up for this. So I ended up purchasing a vial, and that was probably the greatest choice of my overall ayahuasca experience, because it has brought me so many benefits, and it's been the greatest microdose I've ever done. But before we get to the experiences, let's next cover how to do it. And I think I already covered this slightly, but we'll go into a little bit more detail. So essentially, like, how you do it is it comes in a little dropper that you got to keep in the refrigerator, or in a vial with a dropper that you keep in the refrigerator. And all you do is take one dropper and mix it with water. And not that much water, just like a little bit of water, just enough to mix it up and throw it back. And then that's simply what you do. And the other instances of how to take it is, typically I do it on an empty stomach, and I don't want any food in my system, just so it better absorbs. And when I take it in the morning, it absorbs a lot better than when I take it in the evening, because of all the stuff that's in my stomach. So I tend to take it in the morning on microdoses. And next you're going to get to, how often do you take it? And that is so intuitive. I cannot tell you a regimen, a schedule. Essentially what I do is I take it when I feel called. And when I get called to it, it is literally like I'm just going throughout my day, I kind of forget about it, and then I'll just get this ping, and it's like, you should microdose ayahuasca. And then essentially what I do is like I'll deflect and be like, no, that's my ego. And then it'll come back in just as soft, just as quiet, just like a random thought. And it's just like, you should microdose ayahuasca. And I'm like, no, I'm good today. Then it comes in a third time, and then I'm like, all right, we're doing it. And that is my simple like regimen. It's just so intuitive. And that is like the magic of ayahuasca that I can never explain to you through videos, but it's something you have to experience. Is like, Aya will call you, whether you need to sit with it in ceremony, smoke some changa, or microdose it. It will contact you. You'll just get this random thought, and it'll keep coming in until you do it. And that's a sign to do it. And you just have to be able to listen and understand that that's not you creating it, that's the medicine calling you. And that is the utmost important part. And then the other end of that is like, when do you do it, is what I was guided on, and I've kind of played with different guidelines, is like you can do it in the morning and you can do it at night, but you really want to avoid food with it, because essentially when you eat food with it, it'll just interact with it in a sense that it decreases its effects overall. That's why I choose to do it in the morning when I have an empty stomach, and then essentially it lasts for, I'd say, like 4 hours in general. I think that's a safe number. What the experience is like. This is the coolest part about microdosing ayahuasca is it's such a unique experience overall. How would I describe it? It's like being on a microdose of mushrooms times 10, but it's still just as unnoticeable, but it's unnoticeable and noticeable at the same time. And let me elaborate on this a little bit. So the first time I microdosed ayahuasca, I was like, is this gonna put me back in, in a full ceremony? Like, what's gonna happen? And I had all these questions, and I was like, there's only one way to find out. Let's take it. So then in taking it, I took it the first time at night, and it was too much of an experience for me to take at night. And I say this in a way that it just gave me so much energy. I felt kind of like on Adderall without the jitters. Like I was in a slot, I was focused, and in a sense of feelings, I felt like I'd just gotten out of a cold plunge and I wanted to create. I wanted to do stuff. Like I just couldn't sleep essentially. And I was like, wow. But I wasn't like restless and anxious. I was centered and grounded and was just like, man, I want to edit some videos right now. Or I want to like edit some photos. Like it just gave me the drive and motivation to do what I wanted to do. And then I learned after that experience, like not to take it at night. Night's not for me. So then I pivoted to the morning, and that's when I really found the greatest benefits and use of it was taking it in the morning. And that experience is awesome. And one day I just got a random hunch to take it, so I did it, and I was having a bunch of problems in life and like didn't know what to do. And that was the greatest benefit of it, was it essentially, I feel like, and this is how I describe microdosing ayahuasca to people, is like I feel like in life, like we're just guessing and we're following feelings and we're trying to figure out what to do, and when we find it, we do it. But when you microdose ayahuasca, it's almost like instead of the guessing, life just kind of puts you on a track and takes you through the day, and you end up intuitively doing stuff that solves all the other problems. So for instance, when I took it one day, I had a bunch of problems in business. I needed to talk to a lot of people, and I got this random ping to hit up this one guy, and I give him a call, and I'm just like, hey man, I just got a random ping to call you. And talking to him, I solved about 7 other problems I was thinking about. And it was just so cool how I was led to talk to him. And in that conversation, I diffused all the other problems because it was like a multi-business deal. And then talking to him, I solved all the others. And I was like, oh my God, this stuff's magical. And then aside that, the other part of the experience that I think is key is like, you don't notice it until you pay attention to it. And this is key because this is the coolest experience. And I pulled this back to that day, and then other days that I've sat with it or microdosed it. It's really cool because I just like, I'll take a break from the day. I'll be such in a tunnel zone, and I'm getting stuff done, and I'm concentrating, and I'm super creative, and I don't have fear, I don't have anxiety, I'm just creating, and it's so much fun. And then I'll take a break, and I'll be like, wow, man, that's been a day. And I'll just connect to my breath and close my eyes, and that's when I see like some visions that aren't like very, very distinct. They're kind of just like kind of shadowy and very faint. But as soon as I close my eyes and connect to it and connect to my breath, I feel so at peace, so at just like at ease. And I'm just like, man, this is life. And then before you know it, it just fades out. And then you're doing your stuff for the day, and you're like, man, what happened today? And then you see what you're getting done for the day, and you're just like, oh my God, this is awesome. This stuff's dope. And yeah, that's a big part of the experience. And I'd say the overall benefits that microdosing ayahuasca has brought me is it takes the guessing out of life, and you just find yourself in the right situation at the right time, doing the right stuff with the right people, and you're just like, wow. So overall, I would say it's a really good alignment tool because it just naturally puts you in a place to do the things that you need to be doing that maybe are different from what your egoic mind or your mind's telling you to do, but they're really aligned with what you need to do to advance forward is the best way to describe it. And even in describing it like that, I'm like, hey, this sounds kind of woo-woo in a sense, but it's the coolest experience. And I'd say there's no woo-woo in it. Like you just understand how life works, and you're able to flow with it with ease instead of guessing and second guessing or triple guessing yourself. Like you just understand that you just have to surrender to life and allow life to take you where it wants you to go. And it puts you on the track, and it takes you everywhere that you need to go. And then you just get to focus on experienced life and doing the things you love that align with where you're at, who you're doing stuff with, and how it's going to impact your life and everybody else's lives around you. And I like that. So guys, if you guys get a chance, definitely microdose ayahuasca. It is it is the best microdose out there, and I think it just brings more benefits, and I just say there's no health risk associated with it. I haven't seen any, I haven't experienced any, so that's coming from my own testimonial. Yeah, so hopefully you guys get a chance to microdose ayahuasca. It is life-changing.